If we could have your attention and if we could get settled down and we'll start our meeting. Please remember to turn your phones off. Last meeting I didn't, mine rang right during the meeting, so please turn it off, turn it down. Put it on airline, whatever mode, whatever it is. Again, I would like to welcome everyone to the Friday afternoon, March 11, 2022 regular meeting of the Barefoot Bay Recreation District Board of Trustees. We have quite a big agenda today, a number of things to go over. But let's start again with our thought for the day. And as we normally do, we talk about our military and our firefighters and our police and everyone else, but there's no way we cannot have the thought for the day today be for all those people in Ukraine and the suffering they're going through. And if we could just, all of us pray that that would end. So take a moment of silence. Thank you. We will go with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Morrissey, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brinker, would you please do the roll call?
Yes, sir. Trustee Nugent. Present. Trustee Brinker's here. Trustee Morrissey. Here. Trustee Amos. Here. Chairman Mano.
Here.
John Coffey, our community manager, is in the room along with Stephanie Brown, district clerk, and John Terry, our attorney. Mr. Manor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Number 4, additions or deletions to the agenda. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have a deletion, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to delete item 11B, please. We'll do it later.
Delete item 11B.
Correct.
Is there a second to that motion? Mr. Nugent seconds. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Any other additions, deletions? If not, can we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll move to.
Mr. Amos makes the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Morrissey seconds. Any questions, comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Presentations and proclamations. Barefoot by the Lake Volunteers Appreciation Proclamation. Kathy, am I getting up? Are you calling up people? Where's Kathy? Oh, are you coming up? Are you calling people? And what am I doing? I have the proclamation. You have to all remember, I just do what I'm told. I just do what I'm told. Okay. And are you going to?
I think they all should come up for a picture.
Everybody come up. All of them here.
Let's do it. Let's get, is this on? You hear this? Guys, is this on? Is it on now? Can you hear this in the back?
Scoochie, scoochie.
Can you hear this? What's that?
Want to lay down in front?
Yeah, just get it.
That's why I'm staying. That's a good idea. Everybody wants to do that soon. I can't get back.
Okay, whoever called all these people up here. Goodness.
Hey, Frank.
I'll get out in front. Okay.
Okay, if we're ready to go, and some of you can stand over here. There's over here, you can just, John Terry, he doesn't have to be in a picture.
Yeah, you can stop, John. You're short.
You know, it was a lot easier organizing this Barefoot by the Lake Festival than it was just now. Okay, if we can go, again, as you all know, we had the festival, Barefoot by the Bay Festival, and I would like to read the proclamation from the Board of Trustees. Volunteer service strengthens our community and reflects the spirit and goodness of people. Today we thank the volunteers of the Barefoot by the Lake Festival for their contributions at the 4th annual event held on February 11 and 12, 2022. Whereas for over a year, a group of volunteers with members from the CVO and district staff come together to plan the festival. Each member gave hours of their time and talents to work out all the details, which included a long list of tasks such as soliciting sponsors, signing on vendors, and marketing the event. And as the weekend approached, over 70 Barefoot Bay residents were recruited to volunteer their time, setting up tents, tables, and chairs, working in the kids zone, selling raffle tickets, guiding traffic, and so much more. It is when members of the community step forward to help that their actions bind us together and strengthen the work that we do. The festival, which showcased our beautiful property and all that is good about Barefoot Bay, would not have been successful without these volunteers, and we are grateful for them. And whereas we extend our sincere appreciation to the devoted volunteers, staff members, and vendors who spend countless hours each year to make the festival better than the previous year, none of this would be possible without help. Now be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Barefoot Bay Recreation District to recognize March 11th as Barefoot by the Lake Festival Volunteers Appreciation Day in our district in the state of Florida. Passed and adopted by the Board of Trustees of Barefoot Bay Recreation District this 11th day of March 2022. Signed, Chairman of the Board, Michael Armino. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you, congratulations. It was a tremendous, tremendous success. Now, I've got a couple things to say after this, but I think, Elaine, you want to say something?
I do.
You don't want to say a lot around our meetings.
As co-chair of the Barefoot by the Lake, and having sat on this committee from day one when we started this, I have a few thoughts to express about Barefoot by the Lake Festival 2022. My first comment must be about the partnership I have with Kathy Mendes. To this BOT, you know that you have a gift in her. And I will work with Kathy on any event at any level and enjoy every minute of it. She's an organized, enthusiastic, This was our 4th festival, and quite frankly, the best in organization, the best people on the committee, which works for a year planning, the best partnership between the district and the CVO, and truly the volunteers just keep getting better and better. I think I speak for all of us. We do this event joyfully because it makes the Bay shine. Do we all work hard? Absolutely. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Each year we reconvene and take a strong look at what can be changed, dropped, or improved upon. A well-intentioned input is always a moment for us to listen and possibly improve. This is an honest, hard-working group of people. Our goal is to make this a weekend that the Bay anticipates all year long. We couldn't ask for a better advertisement as to the lifestyle that is available to the residents of this community. In fact, a perfect example is the knowledge that one of our outside vendors spoke with one of our realty sponsors of the festival and made an appointment to purchase a home in Barefoot Bay. With all the new construction growing outside of the Bay, this event is the best example of who we are. It's a shining example of the Bay at its best, and few communities can compete. I heard this quote at the festival, and I believe in it wholeheartedly. If you are bored in Barefoot Bay, you ain't doing it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Before y'all go, hang on. Again, I'm presenting this to CVO, to the group, to who? Or is it just? Okay, and again, present this proclamation. I didn't even hand it to you before. You want to take it?
She won't take it.
Again, before we all sit down, I have to tell you one thing too. I spoke at, what night was it? Friday night, I think, or Saturday night at the festival. And we thanked everyone, and it couldn't have been done for sure without all these silly shirts here. Everywhere you looked, you saw these shirts up there, and it couldn't have been done without all your help. But you do have to go back, and you have to pay special thank you to Kathy Mendez and to Matt Getz and his staff. These people do not get paid extra to come on Saturdays and Sundays. They do that so we don't have to pay overtime. I had an email from that I saw that Kathy had sent out, and in that email, she was talking to people about everything from when the Budweiser truck would arrive, when the chairs were going up, when the tents were going up, how long the carts could be parked a certain way, who was putting the cones out, and who was spraying for ants. So again, I have to tell you that Kathy does this on a day-by-day, week in, week in, and week out, every week, presenting entertainment, music, and things for the staff. And I think we really owe her a big, big round of applause. It isn't about you, Kathy, but again, you were a great leader for this group, so thank you all.
Thank you. Pictures?
Oh, we have to take pictures.
Squeeze it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take another one. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And remember, the festival's the 10th and 11th.
Thank you again.
The needs only last so long.
Oh, the needs list 36.
Kathy, you should probably stay up here. Where'd you go?
Okay.
We've got a meeting.
I don't want to do the Bible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, 9 and 10. So, yeah, 9 and 10:30.
Again, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for what you did for Barefoot by the Bay Festival. Our next presentation has to do with recognition of our employees. This is Barefoot Bay Recreation District Employee Appreciation. Wait, we have to get her up here. Sheila Wineland? Sheila, come on up. Come on over. This is the Barefoot Bay Recreation District Employee Appreciation Certificate awarded to Sheila Wineland. Is that how I say it, right? Wineland? In grateful recognition of your 5 years of dedicated, valuable service to Barefoot Bay Recreation District. We couldn't do it without you. Awarded this 11th day of March. She gets $1 Mino, which I guess is worth a day off. Is that what it is? And she is the lead server at Food Services, so congratulations. Okay? Yeah. Anything? No?
No, just, I love working here and everybody's great. And I'm busy, I have a full room next door.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, this one's gonna cost us money. Goodness gracious. And by the way, you get one of these, I guess, for every 5 years that you serve, correct? That's right. Okay, Sharon Petrillo, come on. Petrillo?
Sharon.
Again, Barefoot Bay Recreation District Employee Appreciation Certificate. She gets $4 Mino, which is 4 days off. Awarded to Sharon Petrillo in grateful recognition of the 20 years of dedicated and valuable service to Barefoot Bay Recreation District. We couldn't do it without you. Again, Sharon was bartending and we were serving beers for like 50 cents a beer. So, yeah, it's been a long time, but again, congratulations.
Got it?
Again, congratulations. Anything?
Yes, it has been my pleasure to be here with everybody in Barefoot Bay the last 22 years, but this is my 20-year certificate. And it's just been an amazing journey and wonderful memories, and I love y'all.
Okay, I'm done for the day. Okay. Approval of the minutes. Is that what we're here? Yeah. Approval. You should have the minutes. It's going on and on. You should have minutes in your packet for the meeting dated February 11, 2022. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes by Mr. Morrissey? Is there a second? Any questions, comments, changes, anything to those minutes? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Mr. Nugent, can we have the treasurer's report, please?
Treasurer's report as of March 11th, 2022. Petty cash on hand is $2,500. MB&T operating account is $497,580.22. Interest-bearing accounts, the MB&T money market account is $2,751,679.54. The SBA reserve account is $700,221.65 for a total interest-bearing accounts of $3,451,901.19. For our total cash balances in the general fund, $3,951,981.41. Total daily deposits and assessments received from February 4th through March 3rd, $217,392.55. Interest received for the money market is $241.76. Interest received for our SBA account is $83.02. Interest received on other interest is 21 cents. Golf revenues is $49,369.71, and our assessments received is $142,231.03. So our total deposits received is $409,318.28. Our total expenditures, 5,000 and above, was $491,787.60. Our expenditures under 5,000 was $136,549.52. Our total expenditures, $628,337.12. I respectfully submit the treasurer's report.
Thank you, sir. I think I'd remind you all, I think this is up a little bit, so you probably got to stand back a little bit or sit back so we don't have the feedback. Okay, you heard the treasurer's report. Can we have a motion, please, to accept the treasurer's report and approve payment of bills as presented? Mr. Amos, seconded by Mr. Brinker. Any comments, questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Audience participation, the first one up I have is Jeannie Osborne. Again, when you come up, please put the microphone on and give us your name and address.
No.
Jeannie's gone?
No, she don't want to.
No.
You don't? Okay. Second one up I have is Loretta Santilli. Yep. Right here. Make sure that mic is on, the green light is on. Okay.
I just wanted to call to anybody's attention that when we did the ethnic festivals, we had to plug in a couple crock pots, and there wasn't enough receptacles, especially in the kitchen. There's lots of shelves, but usually when you use the shelf, you want to plug something in, and you can't. And like people were plugging in like 4 crock pots in one receptacle, and that's not safe. Kept blowing it out. So I think it's best if you put more receptacles in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, there's another 3-month delay in opening. No, thank you very much. I didn't know that. Next one is it Elena Beecher?
Becker.
Becher?
Yeah,
Please give your address, please.
sure. Elena Becker, 1032 Thrush Circle. And I really wanted to...
You have the green light on there?
I certainly do. How's
Okay.
that? Better? Yeah, I really wanted to compliment everybody who led the volunteers for the festival. Everybody that put in the millions of hours that it took from last summer when I was away and our northerners were all gone. They were working diligently to make this festival work. And I was very, very proud to volunteer under all of them, and Kathy Mendez, and who else is back over here, and all the girls. I had no memory loss, so that's a good thing. But another thing I wanted to say, other than the festival, is coming out of the 19th hole 2 weeks ago, I got to see the sidewalk that was being torn up. And when I looked at the depth of the sidewalk, in some places we measured it, it was 18 inches. And I thought an 18-inch sidewalk could be here for the next millennium, and archaeologists. I really didn't see why the repair. And I know that if you would tell me that it just raised in places, I would also tell you that a cement company could have filed down those places and made the sidewalk flat. So spending $53,000 something would have been better spent, maybe perhaps buying chairs for underneath the portico so that when you have events, people have a room to sit. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other audience participation? You don't really have to have a slip if you'd like to say anything. Oh, yeah, Mr. Coffey, you have a letter to read?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Rich Schwatlow, 636 Marlin Circle. On Facebook, one of the main topics is the DOR, its staff, and how the rules are enforced. Over the last couple of months, the Bay has had a DOR committee made up of residents that volunteered to be on it. They were asked to review current DOR regulations, revise them when needed. They also could remove outdated rules and add additional rules to meet current needs. At the first meeting, 5 residents attended the meeting. Halfway through, I was the only resident there. On Thursday, March 3rd, the committee was supposed to have its last meeting. This meeting was supposed to finalize the work by the committee before it was sent to the Board of Trustees. At this meeting, that will determine the DOR rules that all residents will have to follow. There was only one resident there to give their input and guidance to the committee. If that was not bad, it ended up that they will have to have another meeting because less than half the committee was at this meeting, so they did not have a quorum to have a final vote. When the new DOR regulations are mailed out to the Bay residents to vote on, I do not want to see Facebook light up with complaints. There could have been more than one resident at this past DOR meeting.
Oh, so there wasn't a complaint against us? It was about residents not attending the meeting, I assume. Okay, and thank you. And just for clarification, just so everyone understands, we have received the recommendations from the DOR committee. This board will sit down and we'll look at them, discuss them at some point. We will take a vote and to decide which ones we wish that would go on to the residents. And at that time or later on, it would then go to the residents for a vote as to whether they want the changes or not to the DOR. Okay, any other audience participation? Hearing none, audience participation is closed. Unfinished business. Fiscal year 21 audit presentation. We just call up Mr. Alan Ricklefort, and he is with MSL CPA Advisors and Accountants. Mr. Ricklefort, please come up and give us the good or bad news.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd be pleased to announce
And make sure that green light is on. It is? Okay.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, that mic is not coming up there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm pleased to announce that it is good news. I'm Alan Ricklefort. I'm the senior manager in charge of the audit of the.
Let me interrupt you 1 second. Matt or Guy, is there something we should do to turn that up? Ours are way up, but his is. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't want you to give some important information that people can't hear or understand.
It's not a problem.
Just tap on and see what it is. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, sound better?
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Again, my name is Alan Ricklefort. I'm the senior manager in charge of the audit for the Barefoot Bay's financial statements. And so you should have 2 documents in front of you. One of them is a stapled document, which is our required communications letter. to governance. For those of you who have been on the board for several years, this language is pretty standard. It's required by our standards, and it goes over a number of items, including the sensitive estimates that we look at on the district's financial statements, as well as significant disclosures. It also goes into whether we encountered significant difficulties in dealing with management, which I'm pleased to report that we did not. And it also discusses corrected and uncorrected misstatements. There were no adjustments to the financial statements, nor were there any unadjusted numbers that went on there. So the next document is your bound document. This is the audited annual financial report. And there are a number of reports here that I'd just like to go through very quickly. The first one can be found on page 1. That's our independent auditor's report. And this is basically the report that indicates that the district was free of the risk of material misstatement. The district received an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that you can get, so it was in effect a clean report for the district. The next couple of pages, starting on page 8, relate to the balance sheet and the statement of activities relating to Barefoot Bay's activities. As you can see on pages 8 and 9, the Barefoot Bay is in a strong financial position, and it's all the more impressive considering that there's been no debt taken out. So that goes to speak to management's ability to manage the finances of the district. The next set of the reports can be found starting on page 26 under the compliance section. The first report is what we call our yellow book report, and it basically is our assessment as to the internal control over the financial reporting on the district. There were no deficiencies noted here and no related findings. On page 28 is the independent accountant's report. This is required by statute, and it goes over our examination of the district as it relates to the administration over compliance with their investment policy, and there were no issues on that one. Page 29 is the independent auditor's management letter, and this is required by the Auditor General and also references the rules of the Auditor General. The only major change on this report from the prior year is on page 30, where there were additional items required by statute. You can see them under the special district component unit section. It's basically additional information regarding the number of district employees, contractors, and compensation, along with discussion on significant construction projects over $65,000. And with that, I will leave it open to any questions or comments as it relates to the audit. And I did want to thank Charles, who was very helpful in terms of getting this audit completed in a timely manner, and he was very responsive to all of our requests.
Thank you. I'll start with a couple questions, a couple of points, and then I know what it's like going through an audit. I did that for 30-some years with my boards and in school districts. A couple of things, and I want to make sure we understand. The unmodified opinion means we are doing things the way they're supposed to be done. Correctly?
That is correct.
That is correct, okay. And no deficiencies means that nobody's hiding money and they've got a Swiss bank account somewhere. We're doing exactly according to the standards and practices for accounting purposes.
In effect, that is correct.
Okay. And finally, just a question for you. On page 6, it says in there, it talks about a minimum fund balance, and it says what it is, and it says met its required minimum fund balance. What do you consider our minimum fund balance? Do you know?
So
a percentage, or what do you consider?
Yeah, so I believe the minimum fund balance is actually set by the district's policy.
Okay, so it's not a minimum that you're saying. You're saying we met our minimum fund balance that is required.
Correct.
Very good. That's all I wanted to make sure. Yeah. Gentlemen, questions for him? They have no questions, sir. I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I thank you for your
Thank
time.
you for coming. kitchen trade. I think we do, yes. Gentlemen, could we have a motion to accept the auditor's report as presented? Mr. Nugent makes it, Mr. Morrissey seconds. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, taking this out. Okay, next on the agenda then would be the kitchen trailer at pool number 1, Mr. Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, trustees, residents gathered here and watching at home. Approximately 3 years ago, the Food Safety Code changed prohibiting staff from cooking to order on the grills in the screen room by pool 1. Hence, staff had proposed in the previous budget workshop to acquire a food trailer that would meet the new interpretations of the Food Safety Code. $64,600 was put in the FY22 budget for this. Staff solicited bids and made 3 road trips to inspect the proposed units. For someone tuning in for the first time, we are very cautious spending the people's money here, as the auditor is attested to, and a significant expenditure like this we don't buy sight unseen. So, without going into the exact details, there were 3 models that met our standard. One was a shorter model and not as good a quality, the FUD trailer. And so it came down to 2 trailers that were similar in nature, but staff recommends purchasing the United Food Truck trailer at $69,192.19. And I listed some of the reasons, but basically we can get this much sooner, and staff believes in the upcoming holidays that we can gross at least $12,000 to $16,000 in sales that would make up for the $5,000 additional cost. There's much more detailed information than the alternate. It has longer, it has 2 concession windows versus 1, so shorter lines of getting hot, fast, tasty food out. And it have larger, deeper fryers, so we can have more onion rings, chicken wings, and French fries going out at street dances and other parties. Staff therefore recommends award contract to United Food Truck for a kitchen trailer in the amount of $69,839.19, and instruct staff to execute a budget transfer of the contingency to cover the overage. Ms. Mendes is here, and she can answer any specific questions if you have about the proposed food trailer.
Thank you, sir. Let's have a motion first to, there's a recommendation by staff to award the contract to United Food Truck for a kitchen trailer in the amount of $69,839.19. Can we have a motion, please? Accept that. Mr. Morrissey makes a motion. Mr. Nugent seconds. Questions, comments?
Just a quick comment. How long for the food truck, Joe?
The one that we're, the United Food Truck is 6 to 8 weeks out. The other one was several months more.
And that's an important point. I think people don't realize, and 2 points. Having to do with this kind of an issue and other issues even. And it's not to say anyone is wrong in what they think. A lot of times the Board of Trustees has a lot more information about things than other people do, and we look at everything and whatever came before us. You know, I think there's 181 pages in this agenda. And you look at it and you make up your mind and make a decision on what you want to do. And again, someone in the public may not agree with that, and they say, well, why didn't you do this? Many times we have a whole lot more information that we go by and we look at than they do. That's number 1. Number 2, people do not really realize that the major problem we have with almost all of the construction and things we're doing is time limits. We're not going to get into detail today, but we just did some things the other day, opened some bids for a project, and we're looking at 15 months before they could even look to get it done. So it's very difficult to do this in the economy and with what's going on today in the world. Okay, any other comments or questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Mid-size truck replacement, Mr. Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. FY '22 budget contains funding to replace the resident relations, DOR community watch vehicle. Although the vehicle has only 132,000 miles on it, the type of miles driven exclusively under 25 miles an hour, the frequent stop and go and growing cost and frequency of repair, staff believes warrant to go ahead with the replacement. Using state bid contracting, we located a 2022 Ford Ranger two-wheel drive Super Cab truck for $22,559.40. For those new to Barefoot Bay, being a form of government, we can use a state bidding system where the state competitively bids out products before, and therefore it saves us the time of having to get a second bid. Hence, staff recommends the DOT award contract to Gardner Ford Inc. in the amount of $22,559.40 for the 2022 Ford Ranger truck.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to accept staff's recommendation to award the contract to Gardner Ford Inc. for 2022 Ford Ranger in the amount of $22,559.40? Mr. Nugent, Mr. Brinker, seconds it. Comments, questions?
One comment, or one question. This was a very long, lot of pages on this thing. And the one of them, I guess, there's many pages about the Department of Management Services in the state of Florida. But that's what we're going through, so we bypass the bid. But so the initial contract term that they're talking about from November 17th, 2021 and expired November 16th, 2022. Does that actually have anything to do with us, or that's just in there?
No, and I apologize. Things were a little hectic last week, time of year, and I did not realize that attachment had all 30 of those pages. Normally I don't include that on the state bids.
Okay.
It's only when I was printing a paper copy did I realize that this is the first time we've worked with this Ford dealership. The previous Ford dealership, we bought vehicles. For whatever reason, did not get the state bid for this cycle for the product we wanted. They sent us everything but the kitchen sink.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, we weren't doing a 1-year lease item, we're purchasing a vehicle. Okay.
And we will have a test of the trustees later on, and all of those pages that was included with that simple bid to buy that little truck. I know I went through it too, and I thought, my goodness. Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. DOT meeting workshop video live stream equipment and software. Another one, good one. Mr. Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I will be very concise on this, and if any of the trustees have specific questions, I'll zero in on it. Historically, we recorded DOT meetings and sent them to the cable access channel and put them on our YouTube channel. At the start of COVID, like every other local government, we developed live streaming capabilities. Towards the end of last year, at about the same time, we had an employee separate, one employee who worked behind the curtains, and at the same time we had critical failures in some of the equipment. One of the problems I've seen in 8.5 years is we've always had one person that we put all our eggs in for videoing and live streaming. And this was the third time someone had quit on us, and we have to regroup, and there's a noticeable difference in the community of access to information. So I'd ask Ms. Brown to work with some potential vendors to find a system that has less dependency on one person and also gets all the wires off the floor as much as possible as we used to have. Late last year, the board authorized the design work with IM Solutions. They have come back with a 3-camera camera system. 2 of them will be mounted permanently, one on the wall, one on the ceiling, and we'll use 1 tripod. So we'll remove all the wires we used to have back and forth on the floor with the exception of the one going to the tripod. And we'll have a significant annual savings in labor time of setting up and tearing down. The biggest thing that I am happy about this proposal is, I don't know if y'all ever see in my face, but I've been nervous for 8.5 years, people tripping over the wires we used to have. Additionally, the shift to digital format will reduce the post-production work required to place the videos up on our YouTube channel. We have reserved $19,000 for this project in the year-end estimate and the budget we received earlier this year. Therefore, there is sufficient contingency available for this overage. Lastly, if someone is wondering why there's no second bid, implicit in the design fee with IM Solutions was the fact that we were going to go with them for the product. Sort of like asking a Ford dealership to design your truck and then taking it to the Chevy dealership and saying, can you build this for me? So the staff recommends the board award contract to IM Solutions for implementation of video live streaming equipment and software for DOT meetings workshops in the amount of $23,680.84, waiving the second bid requirement and instructing staff to prepare future budget amendment to cover the overage. If you want to get into the weeds on this issue, Ms. Brown knows this inside and out and will be happy to order dinner in because she can give you all the details. It'll take the next 4 hours.
Thank you, sir. Just so y'all know, before the meeting started, these people know I almost went over that cable on my face. So, okay, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of staff as presented, please? Mr. Nugent makes a motion, a second by Mr. Amos. Comments, questions?
I'm just curious about this one item on here, this the expensive one, the $1,402 camera. It's a PTZ camera, and we have it with a tripod. Is that going to replace this camera, and somebody sits in a back room and has a little joystick? Or
This one, there will be one still standing camera, but the PTZ cameras are actually the ones that are being mounted. So those are a little bit more expensive than the tripod camera, and all 3 of them will be able to be controlled from the controller with the new switcher.
What could we do that?
Yes. So 3 cameras, 1 standing, 2 PTZ cameras that will be mounted, and all 3 will be able to be controlled from the new software and video production panel that will be in the control room.
Okay, is that all included in that $1,400 on 3 cameras, or is that just 1 camera?
All 3 cameras.
Okay, because I couldn't tell.
Yeah, the total should be at the end for all of it, for everything.
Here.
Thank you.
Yeah, the quantity 3 for the cameras there. And that's part of the savings of setting up.
It's
tearing
3
down.
times 14. Yeah, now I see.
And instead of having 2 people devoted to this, we have 1 person.
Yeah, the quantity was the item there. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Nugent?
Yeah, I have a lot of constituents who are asking for live stream. They want to be able to watch this, and they're disappointed that we don't have it thus far.
I agree. I think it's better that we try to be as transparent as we possibly can and to get this information out to the people. And we've been without some of this for a while, and I do think it's needed and a good idea. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Concrete work change order number 1. Mr. Coffey.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is for the work exclusively in the community center area. Two items caused this change order, as I previously mentioned in email to y'all, for the public's awareness. when the concrete approaching the Egret Bridge was pulled up, instead of 4 inches, it veered down to 15, 18 inches as it went towards the bridge. I'm not one to second guess and try to refix things. I believe whoever designed that bridge, that has lasted, that I've seen vehicles drive over it, even though they're not supposed to. There's a reason there was that much concrete, so instead of trying to substitute dirt for concrete, we authorized to replace the concrete. And there was a few places where, on second review, it made sense to expand the tearing out of concrete to pick up some more broken areas. The policy manual has a clause that when things are over my 10% authority, I can proceed with the approval of the chairman, which Chairman Mino did sign off on this. This work has been done. This was exclusively for the community center area. And I think most folks will say the work was done very well. Hence, staff recommends DOT confirm my approval of the change order in the amount of $74.75 to Slater Construction.
Is there a motion to accept that recommendation from staff? Mr. Ames, Mr. Morrissey, second. Comments, questions? Again, this is something that we approved, already we did, so it's just gonna go through the process. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, budget amendment, rebuilding number 10 Green to USGA standards.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The next 2 budget amendments are housekeeping issues of things that have been previously approved. There is a resolution attached to each one of them that General Counsel Jerry will read. This takes surplus contingency and transfers it into the Golf Pro Shop to fully fund the rebuilding of Green number 10. Staff recommends approval of resolution 2022-02.
Again, this is what I used to call housekeeping issues. Would you read the resolution, please, Mr. Perry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is Resolution 2022-02, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Barefoot Bay Recreation District, amending Resolution 2021-09, amending the budget.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to accept staff's recommendation to accept this and approve the resolution as read? Mr. Morrissey, is there a second? Mr. Brinker. Any questions, comments? Gentlemen, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Another housekeeping issue, budget amendment employee classification plan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the same issue. This transfers funding from contingency to the administration department to properly fund the employee pay and classification plan study that the board authorized in December, and we anticipate getting late next month. So staff recommends approval of resolution 2022-03.
Can we hear the resolution, Mr. Carey?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is Resolution 2022-03, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Barefoot Bay Recreation District, amending Resolution 2021-09, amending the budget.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to accept the motion? Thank you. Is there a second, Mr. Nugent? Any questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And finally, employee handbook revision.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Anyone familiar to Barefoot Bay and following our meetings know that every once in a while I will own up to an oversight or a mistake, and this is one of the ones that we are bringing to you to fix an oversight. In 2018, when we were clarifying some different language in the employee handbook, we inadvertently removed the maximum accrual for sick time accrual, which had been at 750 hours. The proposed revision inserts the 3 sentences that was inadvertently taken out. If approved, all the employees will be given new ones. Mr. Himley, to do his due diligence, has determined that 5 employees would have accrued 862 hours. what happened was when this fell out, we didn't change the system in the payroll. So in fact, the employees have been treated as if this has been in there. I conferred with General Counsel Carey. We both believe the right thing to do and legal thing to do is to award the 862 hours back to these 5 people, grandfather them in being over the 750, and give everybody a copy explaining the 750 is back in effect. The 750 had been reduced from over 1,000 10 plus years ago, so this isn't a change. Sadly, none of the employees noticed this. This is something Mr. Henry came across as part of his reviewing things that I told him to own up to a mistake. Staff recommends the board adopt the revised employee handbook.
Thank you, sir. I bet those 3 employees, or however many they saw. No, they didn't, okay. All right, is there a motion to accept staff recommendation to adopt the revised employee handbook as attached? Mr. Morrissey, is there a second? Mr. Nugent. Again, comments, questions? I'm glad we caught it now rather than 10 years from now, so good job. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And next is the confirmation of donation request acceptance.
This is mud in my face part 2. Our policy manual requires all donations be vetted through the BOT before staff accepts the cost and procures the item. 3 years ago, a gentleman donated the cost of a bench in front of the Veterans Monument in honor of his then recently deceased wife. Last year, said resident passed away, and one of his daughters wanted to replace one slab with his mother's name and his name. Miscommunications between me and my staff that was whether this had to come to the board or not. Needless to say, we accepted the $217 and ordered the slab. Hence, staff recommends DOT confirm our acceptance of Ms. Davis's donation request of $217.05 to replace an updated slab on previous donated.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the staff's recommendation to accept Ms. Davis' donation of $217.05 to replace and update the slab on the previously donated bench? Mr. Brinker made a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Amos. Again, this isn't a big deal. I mean, I would have assumed too you could have just replaced it, but it is a donation. So, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Manager's report.
Revised the FY22 assessment collections. We're up to 87%. This is the time of year that the receipts start getting incrementally smaller. The Shaw Medical and CBO leases have been fully executed. Resident relations, ARC meeting on the 15th. There were 32 items. One was denied, one was approved with stipulations. The meeting on the 1st, there were 36 items. One was tabled, one was denied, and they were all approved. Next meeting is scheduled for March 15th, 9 a.m. in the administration conference room. Violations meeting on the 11th of February. 3 cases came in compliance prior to the meeting, 3 cases found in violations. On the 25th, there were 7 cases. 1 came into compliance before the meeting, 1 was working with the DOR staff, and 5 were found in violation. And as usual, I get busy right before this meeting, and I didn't get the update for the meeting today. Next one is March 25th at 10 a.m. February interesting facts. There were 29 homes sold, 28 new homeowner orientations given, and 46 new residents. Food and beverage, the big St. Patty's Day celebration is next Thursday, starting with a parade, short ceremony, blessing of the bay, pipers and drum show, live entertainment, and a lot of corned beef sandwiches. Tickets are on sale now. The Sign Dance Collective will perform a 3 one-hour show on the Lakeside stage on March 18th at 3 p.m. Tickets are still on sale for Gravy and the Jets. As with all the Winter Beat Series, doors open doors and bars open 5 p.m. and food's available. Property services, busy as ever. Replacing broken items, installed the individual flagpoles around the veterans, tripod flag, did some stormwater maintenance along waterway. What did not get into this is if you drive by the tennis courts, you'll see our restroom trailer in place. I'll brief a little more detail about that in a minute. But staying busy as always. Golf updates, the cart barn repairs are completed, the picnic area scoreboard. Completion expected by mid-March. I didn't say which year. Installation of picnic tables and concrete pad to follow. We got multiple tournaments coming up. Lake bank restoration work continues. Out of bounds markers replaced. Memorial bench installed. The putting green rehab project by ABM, they anticipate closing it on April 4th. And at the same time, outside ABM crew will close green on number 10 to do that to USGA standards. General information, NRP auctions resulted in sales of 2 properties, $18,900 for the Clover address and $24,200 for 416 Barefoot Boulevard. This will come back to you as a budget amendment to put the money back in the NRP account in a future meeting. Restroom trailer is in, due to this being a Friday and new things always seem to have hiccups. We are going to keep it locked and shut this weekend, and Monday morning we'll open it up for use, and the porta potties and hand wash stations will go away. That beach restroom project, the site plan revision is 75% complete. After we get the completed site plan, we will work with soliciting bids for the rest of the work and the permit. Retaining wall around Building A projects commencement date is March 21st, weather permitting. Sidewalk replacement. I'll just mention the sidewalk out here only cost $12,000, and the reason prior boards put it in was that they wanted a 4-foot wide sidewalk. 19th hole kitchen renovation and walking cooler update. Evaluation committee met on Tuesday and opened 2 proposals. Follow-up meeting of interviews with the 2 proposed vendors is March 18th, starting at 1 p.m. in the admin building conference room. The Pool 3 parking lot paving RFP committee will have its first meeting next Tuesday, March 15th at 2 p.m. in the admin building, assuming we get some proposals. We don't have any yet. And the grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony event of the year, Building A, will be on Monday, March 28th at 11 p.m. There's a slight scheduling hiccup, so if you saw a different date in Monday's peak of the week, I had it wrong. After a short speech by Chairman Mino, the trustees will cut a ribbon and staff will host a self-paced walking tour of 5 must-see stops. Maps will be provided. And then at a specific time, Chairman Mino, assisted by First Vice Chair Amos, will drop the first honorary basket of fries. 3 samples will be available approximately 5 minutes later inside the assembly area with complimentary beverages. If you hear the rumor that ketchup packets will be $5 each with the fries, that was a joke I started that some people are taking seriously. And that the budget workshops start next Monday night at 7 p.m. And the last thing I had was the DOR amendments will be coming to the board early next month. It's my recommendation that y'all have a workshop to go over specific language before putting it into a board meeting. Is that consensus of the board to schedule a workshop sometime in April?
Let's deal with that right now. I would like to see that sometime in April. I have to tell you, that April is a bad day, bad month, so you're going to have trouble finding dates, but I think we have to do that. I don't know if you're just gonna look at dates and then send them out, or, because it would be difficult to put a date right now, or would it? What do you have, Steph? Get the mic, grab the mic.
So we have Thursday, April 14th at 9 a.m. or 7. Monday, April 18th, 7 p.m. Wednesday, April 20th, 9 a.m. or Thursday, April 21st at 9 a.m.
Okay, I can tell you right now that the only two of those that I would be here would be the 20th or 21st. There's a whole lot of people, about 40 people leaving here from the 9th through the 19th of April.
What's the time of the 21st?
9 a.m.
Either the 20th or 21st at 9 a.m. What's the pleasure of the board? 21st, 9 a.m.? Sound good?
Good for you.
Is that good, Steph? Okay.
And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and just one correction to your report. My wife was here, she would immediately jump up and say, where did you ever get this? A short speech by Chairman Mino. You know, give me the mic, it's never short, so.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, short. Yeah.
Chairman Emeritus Bosky is not scheduled to speak, so that's where the short came from.
Okay, attorney's report. Mr. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, trustees. I just wanted to expand a little bit on the DOR issue. I did attend the meeting last week, and I want to thank the members of the committee who were there anyhow. They were very professional, and I thought did a really good job of considering the residents' concerns and also moving things along. As the letter noted, they didn't have a quorum to vote on the recommendations because they had a quorum to start the meeting. One of the members had to leave though, and they only had the minimum at the start of the meeting to continue. So they're meeting again on the 31st, I believe, of this month, and I'll attend that as well. And honestly, the additional meeting will be a good thing because it'll allow me to prepare the ballot language and the as if it was going to go to you guys, give it a dry run, and then maybe notice some things we can change. And so that'll be coming to you then in a workshop form, hopefully with language already approved, and then you can obviously take the recommendation of the committee, but the decision on what to approve or not is ultimately up to you, obviously, as a board, and that would have to be voted on at a regular noticed board meeting. But we will present that at the meeting that you just scheduled, and we'll look forward to doing that. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Remarks, Mr. Nugent.
Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to go over. I'm not sure how this mic is working.
I don't
Can
know.
everyone hear? Needs to go up, Charles?
No, you're good.
Okay. Couple of things. First of all, I think it really is redundant that I read the treasurer's report each week for each BOT meeting. I believe the residents get the treasurer's report 7 days in advance, so there's an opportunity to look at it, to gather up information and ask any questions. It is available in hard copy when residents arrive here at our meeting. So it's just me reviewing numbers, and I'm not so sure that that's terribly important for the audience to listen to. Discussion.
Are you looking for comments from us or Jim, or are you?
Is it a regulation for a meeting? Is that a regulation?
No, you don't have to. One of the things, hold on, we're trying to find out. One of the things is, okay, one of the things that is normally done, in my experience, would be that if you were going to read, you would say, you would do the totals of different things. You wouldn't read bills, you wouldn't read any of that. You would say total deposits received, 409,000. Total interest bearing account, or whatever it might be, and you'd get to the bottom and you'd say that's it. I don't have a problem either way with doing it. I'm not sure if John, Mr. Gary does or if John does. But again, it is to a certain degree redundant to read everything that's up on the screen that people have a copy of. We never ever did that, so I'm open to anything.
The budget and the financials are obviously public records that any member or any member of the public can look at any time. There's no requirement that I'm aware of to read them at the meeting, unless there's a policy that you all passed at some point. And John shaking his head no. So if you'd like to reduce that requirement or eliminate it entirely and just have the meeting on the information on paper, that would be board discretion.
Well, I think no matter what we have to accept, I believe always you have to accept the treasurer's report. It has to be printed up in public and you have to accept it. And so you could accept just totals, you could accept whatever, but you don't have to read everything.
It would be the same as accepting the secretary's report. It's not read.
The minutes, you mean, yeah, exactly, yeah.
What we do in another organization I'm in is we bring up a motion to accept the treasurer's report as published. That's all we do. Because it's already published, everybody has it. We either make a motion to accept it, or if somebody has a question, you don't accept it.
And doing that would be comply with legal requirements, and that's at a minimum all you need to do.
If you don't want to read it, then that's what you have to do, make a motion to accept it.
Consensus of the board. Is that all right with Mr. Amos, Mr. Morrissey? Anything in particular? I mean, let us know however everybody feels about these things, you know.
I've always, when I was in the fire department, we had meetings like this every month. We always had the treasury report. It didn't go into length. It just stayed the money on hand. Okay, but I think something should have. When people can't read or not read, but maybe restricted eyesight or something, they can't read it. We have to look at it that way too. As long as there's something saying it balanced or whatever it's used for, I'm okay with that. In other words, balance is important.
Mr. Brinker, comments?
I agree, not agree.
Mr. Dujan, how about if we leave it to you to come up and look at it and come back and tell us how you think at the next meeting how you're going to do it? I mean, it's a consensus that we don't need to read the whole thing, so again, I agree with Mr. Morrissey. If it was me, I would be giving maybe 3 of the 4 totals and then saying that's it. But again, if you don't want to do that, I'm not saying you have to. Come up with whatever you think. You're the treasurer.
I can do that now.
Okay.
I don't think that I need to read it.
Okay. Sorry. What else you got?
Second would be, we have been with Marine Bank and Trust for about 5 years. And I think it's important now that we begin to look at other banks and look at what they're offering for interest rates. I think we need to begin to generate some revenue for the Bay without the revenue being placed on the back of the residents. So if we can look at finding a bank that's going to provide a better interest rate on our money market accounts, I think we would consider at that point going to an RFP. I'd like to say that we should ask John and his staff to investigate some financial institutions and see what they're currently offering for interest rates for the money that we have in our interest-bearing accounts.
Okay. Question, I guess. Does Charles do that as it is right now or not? Does he ever do that and keep looking at other banks?
We haven't done it in the last year or so. So it's one thing Charles, Trustee Nugent had mentioned this to me previously, and Charles is already starting to work on it. So I don't see this as any big issue. If it looks promising, we can come back and seek direction from the board how to proceed.
Sure. Okay, anything else, sir?
And the last thing is, I really think that as we're approaching hurricane season, we need to develop an emergency preparedness plan. And the emergency preparedness plan, I think, needs to integrate our local fire department, emergency medical services, and the county, whereby we can get representatives from those particular areas, that we can look at what they have for resources. They can find out what we have for resources, and it would be a collective and collaborative effort in an emergency preparedness plan. I had that with the nursing homes I ran. We integrated local government into putting together an emergency preparedness plan. And if we decide to form a task force for that purpose, I would volunteer to be on that task force.
Again, do we have anything like that? Don't we have anything like that now?
We have an internal emergency management plan that governs our ability.
Okay.
Using government speak, and I haven't spoken in depth with Trustee Nugent about this, so if I veer from your desires, please correct me.
I shall.
This is akin to having either an informal, formal mutual aid program. We as staff, we're aware what the county can do and their shortcomings. The two major hurricanes that have impacted Barefoot Bay, Mr. Getz and his folks have cleared the roads hours before Brevard County ever came down to look to see if the roads were blocked. And we cleared Dottie Lane one year of downed trees so the county could get a backup emergency generator in place to get the sewer treatment plant back running. So I think that there's some potential benefit both ways. I would be shocked if the county departments realize the assets that we could bring to either help them or possibly help a neighboring jurisdiction in a case of emergency.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else, sir? Mr. Ricker? Mr. Morrissey?
Just an update, how's the beach project coming, John?
The what? What is it?
The beach?
The site plan is 75% complete, and once we get the site plan, we will proceed with the site plan permitting and the DEP permitting and soliciting bids for the septic and storm drain work.
Thank you.
Okay, and yeah, that's in your update, and I guess I had a note by that too when you were reading that stuff. So that is on we have to put our own new septic in, do you think? Is that what it is? It's a new septic?
Yeah, we don't have a septic
There's no
system.
septic there, no?
We have porta potties over there, so hopefully, before this year is out, we will be a porta potty free recreation district.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Amos?
No, nothing, thank you.
I have nothing, I have nothing for the good of the order. Anything else? If that's it, I'd look a motion to adjourn. Mr. Nugent made it, Mr. Morrissey second, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries, we adjourn.